Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you won't miss our new videos. And today we are going to dive deep into the world of Python and talk about a few interesting topics. So the first topic we'll cover is what are parameters versus arguments in Python functions. Then we'll talk about dictionary comprehension and dictionary methods. And then we are going to wrap up with an intriguing challenge to find the most repeated characters in a string. So this challenge is often used in interviews. So we are going to tackle that. So this one will be a live coding. So there is no copy pasting or anything of that sort. So without further ado, let's get into it and get started. So starting up on parameters versus arguments in Python. So what is a parameter? So in layman's term, so a parameter is just a placeholder of a future value to be passed in a function. So a parameter is just a placeholder of a future value that will be passed into a function. So let's create a function here. So to create a function, you start with the def keyword and then the name of the function. So let's say I want to create a function to say greet me. So you can see, so creating a function in Python is very easy. You can see. So you start with the def keyword and then the greet, the name, and then parentheses. So these are the parentheses, and then a colon, and then you enter inside a block. So whatever is inside the block is considered as the body of the function. Okay? And then you can ask yourself, why do we create functions in the first place? Why do we need functions? So functions, these are basically containers of grouping pieces of code for reusability. Okay, so this is just like a container. And what does this container do? It groups a group of code such that we can later call the function and then we can execute the same piece of code a several number of times. So we can execute the same piece of code several number of times. So that's a function. So you can create a function that does nothing. So a function has two purposes. So there are two types of functions. So there's a functions that do something and return a value, and others return nothing. So we have two types of functions: a function that does something and returns something, and another function that does something and does not return anything. So we can have a function calling another function, yet calling another function, and doesn't have a return. So by return we mean that this is a function that does has a purpose, does something and gives us something back. Yeah, so you do something with the function and the function gives you something back. But okay, so today we're supposed to talk about parameters and arguments. So what is a parameter? We said a parameter is just a placeholder of a future value to be passed in a function. So to add a parameter in a function, you add it inside the parentheses. So let's say we need a parameter called name. So this doesn't mean that we actually have a name. So the name is a placeholder of a value that will be provided, and then it will fill the gaps where the name function was used. So we can say something like print. So you can use a formatted string. So to use a formatted string, you start the F keyword and then you continue the string. You can say hello, and then we can add our name here. You can see, so this is a formatted string. Formatted string is a string that allows you to insert variables, to insert dynamic values. Like you can even call a function, you can do something like it lets you execute a block of code or maybe pass a value that will be evaluated in a string. So this is a function that returns nothing, but it does something. So what is a name? So this name is a parameter. We call it a parameter. So let me add here. Name is a parameter. Okay. A parameter is the value, not the value. Parameter is the placeholder for the actual value. So in any case, for a function to be executed, you have to call that function. And how do you call function? You you write the function name and then invoke it by adding those parentheses. And you can see here we are supposed to, so this function returns none because it doesn't have a return value. To return a function that has a return value returns something to us. Okay, so a return value from a function can be stored. Okay, so you can see here we called this function. This function requires a name. So now we come to the next concept about arguments. So the argument is the actual value that you are going to pass to a function. Okay, so let's say my name is Real Web Tech Guru. Now Real Web Tech Guru is an argument. An argument is the actual value. So let me write it here. An argument is an actual value passed to a function. So a parameter is a placeholder, an argument is the actual value. So when you call this function and pass Real Web Tech Guru here, Real Web Tech Guru will replace the name. Okay, so it will replace the name, and everywhere we have the name, it will be replaced with this name. Okay, so I hope you got about that. So let's try printing this out. Okay, so let me run this code very fast. App.py. So you can see I got hello Real Web Tech Guru. We can call this function again and pass yet another. Let's say this time we want to call John. So the name is a parameter, and a parameter is just a placeholder. Okay, yeah, a placeholder that will be replaced by an argument. An argument is the actual value you pass to a function. So we have John. We have these are arguments that we pass to a function. Doesn't necessarily mean what type of an argument you are passing. So you can see now the name is expected to be, we expect a name to be a string. So you pass a string here. So whatever we pass to a function is called an argument, and the placeholder of whatever will be passed later is called a parameter. Yes, thank you for listening. So you can see we have hello Real Web Tech Guru, hello John. So that's one use case of functions. Functions lets us create one block of code, and then that block of code is reused. You can see we have reused the word greet. Okay. So instead of printing this value, we can return it. We can return this one. So when you hover here, you can see that this greet is a function that returns a string. Okay. So when a value is returned, you can do something with the value. You can store it into a variable. So let me add this one. Greet Web Tech Guru. So we can store the result of a function in a variable if the function has a return value, and then we can print that out. Can print that out. So I hope you are getting what is happening. So if a function returns something, you can store whatever it returns to a variable, and then you can print whatever the variable contains. So if we do this again, we can see we get the same result, but in this time we are returning something from the function. Okay, thank you. So I hope you understood what that one is, and then we can move forward to dictionary comprehension and dictionary methods. So we can start with dictionary. Let's start with dictionary methods in Python. So in this, I'll open a Python shell. So if you don't know what a Python shell is just it's called a repo. Read, print, evaluate, and So it's called let me show you. Read, evaluate, print loop. So this is just an interactive environment for you to print out to work with Python. So I want to use this one to show you how useful, how to add something into a dictionary, and how to increase something, maybe how to change something in a dictionary. So I will create a dictionary here, and I'll create a dictionary with the name, and then give this name my name, real web tech. Let me call myself real web, and then I can give myself, no, let me just say that. Hey, we have a syntax error. Oh, forgot a comma. Okay, let me clear this one out very fast. Okay, so my dict is equals to a dictionary with the name, which is real web. Okay. What is happening? We have an issue here. So let's see what's happening. So what is happening if I add something into the dictionary? Something is wrong. Okay, we did not add the forgot a quote, but that's okay. So now when I look at my dict, I have a dictionary, and the dictionary is a collection of key value pairs. So we have a name and my name. Now whatever I want to show you is how to adding an item in a dictionary. Okay, so whatever I'm doing here is just using comments. Comments are ignored comments are ignored. So to add something in a dictionary, use this syntax. Use the curly bracket syntax and say, let's say I want to add the age, and then you assign the age a value. Let's say I'm 30 years. So you call my dict, use the square bracket syntax, add your key. So this one is the key and the value, and then give the value whatever value you want it to be. So when I print my dict, I see the age is added. What if we want to increase my age? We have two ways here. You can call my dict and then call the age. So this one is to access an element. So the first syntax, this syntax, you access that element and then assign it another value. Okay, but in this syntax, just accessing the value, we get the 30. What if we want to what if we want to add the age? Let's say I'm currently 31. How would you do that? So you take my age, that key from that dictionary, and then call my age again, my dict, and then call the age, and then add it to 1. So what will this one evaluate to? This one will evaluate to my age, which is 30, and then add that to 1 to get 31, and then assign that to my age variable. So we call my age key. So we call my age key, and then using my dict, this one my dict age, we get the age, the value of whatever is stored in that value, and then add 1 to it. So let's see what my dict holds now. You can see my age has been increased. Okay, how do you remove an item from a dictionary? Very simple. You add the key you want to. Okay. My dict dot, let's see whatever is happening. You can check here, so you can see my dict is equals to, so we call the name, and then we say real web. I want to check it first. Can use this one to be checking what's happening. We have the pop and then the get items. Also, you have to, so we have two methods to use here. We can use clear to clear everything from the dictionary, or use the pop and then supply the key. Okay, so that's what we are going to use here, not the remove. So we call the, let me clear this screen. So let me clear this terminal. So we call the my dict. So we have my dict. We want to remove the h dot pop, and then we pop the h. And then when we call my dict again, we don't expect to see the h. So those are the bare bones of what we are going to work with dictionaries. You remove an item from a dictionary, you update that item, and then you remove that item, update, and then create a new item. And then we have another method to check the existence of an item in a dictionary. How do we check an existence of an item in a dictionary? Okay, so what happens if I say my dict of age here? We get an error. Okay, so what if I convert this one into a boolean? So to convert something into a boolean, you say use the bool. Okay, we get a key error. So what is happening? So if the key isn't present, we get an error. But we have another method of getting items in a dictionary without throwing an error called the get. You say what you want to get. If it is not there, we get none. Okay? So if we use the bool function on that, then we use that, we get false. So that means we said my dict dot get the age. This one is false. When you use the bool keyword on it, we get false. Okay, we also have another way to get, so let's check using the, we have currently we have the name in the dict. So we have currently we have the name in my dict. So what if we try getting the name dot get, we get the name, we get true. So I hope you're understanding what is happening, because that's very important for us to do. Let me retry that again. So what is present in my dict? We have the name only. So if we try to access dot get, we try to get the name, and the name is there. So if we try to get the name, you expect to get the name. But in my dict, we don't have the age variable, the age key. So if we try to get the age, we get nothing. So we have this concept of false and true values. So let's start with false. So false values, we have empty objects, none, and 0. And then everything else is, we have, yes, everything else is truth. You can check in the documentation the truth and false values. I'm just giving you a snip of. So if, and then we also have none. So if we don't get something, so we can use the bool to convert this one into a boolean. Dot get, we try to get the age. The age isn't present, so we get it false. But if we try to get the name, the name is present. What do we expect? We get true. We also have another way to check if something exists in a dictionary, which is using the in. So the in operator basically works like the bool. So we can say age in my dict. We get false. We have a name in my dict. We get true. So these are the concepts we are going to use in our upcoming challenge. We have a challenge here. So I hope you understood how we first checked how to get an item from a dictionary, how to remove an item using the pop, how to clear an item, and then how to update an item, and finally, how to check an existence of an item in a dictionary. So let's move on to, so we are going to move forward to our challenge for today. So our challenge for today is to find the most repeated characters in a string. Which string? We want to find the most repeated characters in this name. So this is a common interview question, and please take note of that, and let's get started. So the first thing I can do here is to create a function get most frequent frequent let's say most frequent underscore character. So this one, we said we talked about whatever you the placeholder of an actual value is called a parameter. So we can say this one is a string. You can use anything you want. Okay. And then what do we want to do in this thing? So the first thing, this is what we want. So this is what we want to return from this. We want to return something like my dictionary should be something like. So we want, the first thing we know we have to do is to loop through this string in each character, get each character, and then if it is the first encounter of that character, we assign it a value of 1. Okay? Hope you can get me. So we are looping, so you know how loops work. So loops work, they go through each character in a string. So for if we are looping through the string, we first get, in the first iteration, we get m, and then we have talked about how to get to check the existence of an item in a dictionary. So what are we going to do here? So we first got m. So the first thing we check is m inside our dictionary? No. If it is not, we initialize it with a value of 1. That means we have found m once. We go next, we find there is y. Is y in our dictionary? No. Yes, we initialize it with a value of 1. We go next. This one is an empty space. Is an empty space available in our string? No, we initialize it with 1. We are now here. I hope you can understand what I'm doing. I'm going one by one before we start writing the challenge so that everyone can understand whatever we are doing here. So we are currently at n. Is n available in our dictionary? No. You come here very fast, initialize n as 1. We go, we find a. Okay? We find a, initialize it by 1 because a is not present. Now we have a tricky part here. We find m. We first check, is m in our dictionary? Yes, we have m. What do? We can't initialize another m. What do? We update the existing m. So we create our function such that we come and update the m. This is the structure we are going to do, and we'll do that for all the characters in a string. So we are going to write an algorithm that achieves this. So if that character is present in our dictionary, then we increase its presence by increasing by 1. Like we have seen here, we found m is present in ours. Now we increase it by 2 instead of creating another one. So we talked about, these are the methods we talked about. Creating a dictionary. We talked about accessing an item in a dictionary. So we also talked about updating an item in a dictionary. We also talked about removing okay. We talked about all these, and the main reason I was showing you these is so that you can understand whatever is happening here. We also have another concept called dictionary comprehensions. So previously I talked about list comprehensions in Python. So in a previous video, if you haven't checked that out, go check that out. We also have dictionary comprehensions. Let me give you a quick snip of what a dictionary comprehension is. So what is a dictionary comprehension? A dictionary comprehension is a way in Python to help us create dictionaries easier. So let's say you wanted to create a dictionary with let's create a name. Let's create a names list. I can say my name is real web. I can say John. I can say James. So this is the name. What if we wanted to create a dictionary by these names and generate random integers for those, like scores. Let's say we have scores for these names. Okay, so the first thing we can do is import from. We want to create a random value, so you from the random module import the rand int. So if you don't know anything about importing modules, the random module, please write down in the comment section and go back and explain that. If from random import rand int. So we imported the random integer. So let me show you what I want to do. I want to create a dictionary, names and scores, which is, we want to create something like this. Each name, mine is real web, and get a random integer. So I want a random integer, maybe 20. Let's say John gets 30. So I want to create something like this, but I want to use Python to do that for me. That's why I'm using a dictionary comprehension. So the dictionary comprehension helps us to create comprehensions or new dictionaries very easy without much. So I talked about this area in a previous video about how comprehensions work. So I'll repeat that very fast. So the comprehensions have actions, they have action, they have an expression, and they have a condition. Okay, this is how it looks like. So we can say my comp to present my comprehension. You start with the curly brackets, showing that this one is a comprehension and specifically a dictionary comprehensions. So what is the difference between a dictionary comprehension and a set? The difference is a dictionary comprehension has a key value pair. So we can say name and then return something else. So this one is the action, and we said that this action has access to the current iteration variable. So we are inside the expression. You can say something like for name in names. So we have the first part. Now this first part has access to the name variable, and then this one is just basically a basic for loop in Python. And then here we have a condition. If maybe you want to say if name dot no, if name is greater than 10. Okay, so we have a condition, we have an expression, and then we have an action. Okay, so if you don't understand anything, go back to my previous video and see about comprehensions in. So I want to create a mapping like the names and the scores, but the scores I'm using a random module. So this module gives you a random integer of what you want. So how do you do that? So I can say my comprehension is equals to, you start with the curly brackets, then we start, this one is something is wrong with this one. So let me clear this terminal very fast. So I can say my comp is equals to, so we go to the loop. Let me first show you we have access to the names, we have them. So we can say my underscore comp is equals to, we start with the, let's start with the loop. So for name in, this is a basic for loop. We close our comprehension. Now inside here, inside the first part, I have access to the name variable. And which is the name variable? This is the name variable. Okay? So to create a dictionary very fast, I can, something is wrong with this one. So let me clear this one again. So I don't know what's wrong with this thing. Something is very wrong. So we have the names. So I can say my underscore comp is equals, so my comp presents my comprehension is equals to, I want the name. I'll show you how you have access to the name. And then since I have the random module, I can say rand int, then give it two parameters. So the start, so it will start at 0 up to 100 and give you a random integer. So what are we returning here? We're returning the name and then colon the random integer, and then for name in in names, excuse me, in names. This is how easily you can create a comprehension. So when I come here and say my comp, you see it was mapped. The name, for each name, give us a name and then colon, give us a random integer. You got random integers. Okay. So if you don't understand about this, don't worry. Please kindly tell me and I'll go through them. So we have talked about what we want here. I was teaching you comprehension because I'm going to use one here. I didn't want to use something that you don't understand. So this is what we want. I've simply I explained how we want to go through tackling this. So let me remove this one so that we can have space to see. Okay. This is what we want. This is what we want to be returned so that we can get the maximum, the most repeated characters in a string. Okay. So what do we do here? We start with a basic for loop. I want to first use comprehension. Let me use basically let me use basic for loop. So for character in str, we said this is a placeholder. This is a placeholder of what will be added. So we don't know what will be added, but we know it is a list. No, it's a string. Sorry. So for character in str, so what do we do? So the first thing is we create an empty. So let me call this one sample my dictionary. Okay, so I want to first create an empty dictionary. Let me call it my dict. I created an empty dictionary, and then so for each character in str, what is the first thing we said we should do? We should check if the character exists in my dictionary. So my dictionary is this. This one is just a sample. You can comment out this one so that you don't confuse. That one was just a sample of whatever we want to be done. The first thing we said is to check if the character exists in this dictionary of ours. So how do we do that? So we say character in my underscore dict. We can use, you have to use an if here. So we are checking if character is in my dict. Okay. But we said the first step we need to do is to check if the character is not in the list, in the dictionary. So what will this one do? So this one looks for a character. Now we can do either way, no problem. So if the character is in my dictionary, what do we say we do? We said we update its value. How do we update its value? We call the my dict, give it our character, and then to update the value, we have to give it the new value. So we call my dict again, give it the character, and then update its value. So I hope you understand this, what is happening here. So this is a method of, we said how to update an item in a dictionary. Very fast, let me remind you, I don't want you to have to hang. We said if I say my dict here is equals to name, we said name is real web. Then we say s give an age. So we say age is equals to 30. We say when you print my dict, you get, how do you update something from my dictionary? You call the dictionary, give it the key, and then use the equal sign. So it's just like this one is like you are replacing the previous one. It's like you are creating a new one. You are creating a new key by the same name, but simply we are updating. So we call my dict again. When you call my dict again like this one gives us the current value. Okay, this one gives us the current value, and the current value is 30. Then we can add 1 to that. So now the next time we call my dict, you can see the age is updated. So that's how we update an item in a dictionary. The same thing I've done here. Okay, sure. So you can leave a comment here updating an item in a dict. Okay, so we have updated the item if we found it there, and then you can use an else statement. So I can remove this one. So we can use an else statement. So else. So this one is, so if the character is not found in our dictionary, we said we initialize the character. How do we create a new item in a dictionary? We simply call it with the name, then we initialize it by 1. So what are we doing here? So if the character is not found in our dictionary, we create a new character and assign it 1. Okay? Yeah. After the for loop, now we can return the dictionary here. And then after returning, we said the function we can call it. So if I print most frequent character and give it the string, if we give it the string, what do you expect us to get? Is this one familiar to you? We have been working with this, the previous comment that I have removed here. So you can see we have the frequencies of each character. We have M is 4, Y is 1, N is 2, Y is 6, blah blah blah, and that and henceforth. Okay, so we have access to the dictionary. Let me copy this so that we can use it. I want you to understand fully whatever is happening. You can call it sample is equals to, then paste that, and then save. So we can take up to there. We don't need all of them. So this is the sample data we have. So don't worry. Time is going like hell. So this is what we have. So at this point, we have my dictionary as what we have printed. Okay. So we want to get the most frequent character. If there are more, give us them. Okay. So what do we do? To this one, I'll show you a simple method to do this. Okay. So if we have sample is equals to m is found 4 times, and y is found 1 time. So if we print sample, get that. Now how do we get the keys? Keys are these ones. How do we get the keys in a dictionary? So we call the keys function. So we get those keys. Let me use a list so that you can see sample dot keys. You see, we got the keys. How do we get the values? The same way. You can use sample dot values. Okay, so this one gives us the values, the keys. The previous one gives us the keys. What if I want to get both the keys and the values? We call the items method. Okay, we get them as tuples. Tuples are, instead of using the square brackets, tuples use the the parentheses. Okay, so how can we use these tuples to get the most repeated character? So now here we have another method in Python called the max method. What does the max method do? The max method takes in an iterable. An iterable is just like a list, a string, and then returns the most repeated character. So we can say numbers is equals to 1, that 43, 56, 76. So what do you expect if I print max on these? You got 76, give us the highest character, okay, in an iterable, okay. But currently this is what we have. I don't know why it is going below. List sample dot items. This is what we have. Can the list, can the map evaluate this? We have to specifically tell it how to do that. So if we try to do this sample dot items, it doesn't know how to do it. Okay, it doesn't know what will I sort with. It doesn't know. So it doesn't know should I sort with what and what. Now this is where we have something called lambda function. What are lambda functions? These are anonymous in Python. If you are from JavaScript, you know what anonymous functions are. Okay, you might have found something like in JavaScript you do something like this to create a function that is anonymous. This is a function that doesn't have a name. So we can use the same concept. So let me show you how we can do the same concept. So we call the max. So the max accepts, it accepts like a way. It accepts a way for us to explain to it sort by, not by sorting, like a way for us to give it the actual what we want it to maximize with. Okay, that's where we give it something called a key, and a key we give it a lambda function. How do we create a lambda function? You start with the lambda keyword, and a lambda function, I've said a lambda function is an anonymous function. So we create the lambda. So lambda is a function that takes an argument. We talked about parameters and arguments. This is a function that takes in an argument and returns something. Okay, a function that doesn't have a name but returns something. Okay, what do you want to return? So what is happening in the max function? At each iteration, we have a specific item. So let's say, assume whatever you have highlighted, that's what we have access to in the first iteration for the max function. By passing a lambda function, we can specify what should we sort with. Okay. Now we have a tuple that has two items. We have m and the value 4. We need to explain to maximum what should you be sorting with. Okay, so what should the max sort with? The max should sort with, so the x value here is replaced by the m and the 4, that tuple, and then we can specify what should you sort with. You want to sort by the value, and the value is 4. For the y, the value is 1. You can see that we are specifying. So this one, so the x is a parameter. We said parameters are placeholders for values to be added. So this m and 4 is what will be added here. And then what do you want to sort with? You want to sort with 4. How do we get 4? Use the square bracket syntax. 4 is at index 1. Give it that. And then we close that. Okay. Now, suddenly the maximum now knows how to maximize our outputs. Okay. Sure. You might realize there is something here we haven't talked about. So let's call the sample again. So we have said that we have used an anonymous function to tell maximum how to work around from this sample. Okay, but the maximum returns only one value that matches, so it does not return multiple. So let me show you. So we can add something to them sample, you can add z. You can say z is equals to 4. Now when we call sample, we find that we still have m and we still have z as 4. So we expect the maximum to give us z and m. But let's see what we get. So we call the max, we call the sample dot items. So we talked about what the items does. We give this one a lambda function which takes in x and returns, tells maximum what to sort with. Okay. Oops, we got m, but still the z has those values. The z has the similar value. What do? I have a way to do that, but you can pause the video and continue trying to do it. But let's do it together. So what we can do is, since the maximum gives us the only one value, we can call the maximum dot items, and I hope everyone is following along by typing through, because that's how you get to understand these concepts. So the maximum gives us only one value, so we can get the value of, so this one is called array indexing. So this list indexing, because we are in Python, sorry. So what am I doing here? We have seen that this expression gives us only one tuple, and a tuple is a collection of values, and we have two items in the tuple. We need to access the value for. So we access it like this. So what do we get? Forgot a comma. So we call the maximum, give it a sample dot items, then we give it a key, which is a lambda. So we call x of 1. Don't worry about this. Then we call that one off. We get 4. Then what can we do to get what can we do to get all of them? We need to get all of them, because if m is 4, we need to get z as well. How do we do it? Dictionary. We can use a dictionary comprehension. I talked about dictionary comprehension. So we can print the sample, and we have seen using the maximum we can get the actual value that is the highest, and then we can use a dictionary comprehension to get all those items with those values. How do we do that? We can create a dictionary comprehension and say, we can say, we can call the, so let me first, we call the, so we said, we say, let's first go to the loop. So for value, for item in sample dot keys dot items. This is a method to get everything. Then if we said about a condition in a dictionary comprehension, if the item, if a specific item at index 1 will get the specific value, so I'll show you that in a few minutes, is equals to 4. Currently we can hard code this value, but you saw how we are getting this value. So I'll show you in a little bit. In a few seconds I'll be showing that. Then we can get the what is happening. So let me first, something is very wrong with this one. So we said we create a dictionary, we say item. So I want to access the item at index 0, access the item at index 1. For item in sample dot items, and then if item of index 1 is equals to 4, we got an invalid syntax. Oh, I used triple quotes, my bad. Let me try this one again. I don't know why this keeps jumping. So we can see we found both. Okay, we found both the items by simply using the max to get the highest value and then grabbing the value of that max. I hope everyone is understanding it. The time is very much gone. So if you don't understand anything, please ask. We found the both two items and then we need to return the. So there's a method. We no, we can, instead of doing that, we can say I don't know why it keeps jumping. I don't know what's wrong with this one. It's still jumping. We can do this one and assign it something. Now this one is keeping it. So don't worry, I'll explain this one. So let me clear this. Go back. So we have seen that at this particular point we have something like this for all the characters in the string. Okay, so what did we say we do? We call the maximum function and give it our mydict dot keys dot items, not keys, and then after giving it that, we give it a key which is a lambda function, and the lambda takes in x and returns x of index 1. We are saying x at index 1 will be like 4. Okay, because this one will be converted to something like this. We have m and 4. So we are saying at each iteration, sort by the item at index 1. This one is at index 0, this one is index 1. So sort by that. By sorting by that, we'd get the maximum item, but we want the item at index 1 of that, because we saw that if both are most repeated, we won't get whatever we wanted. So we get that. So this one will give us the value of the most repeated of most repeated. That one is a value, maybe 4, maybe 5. Then we can come here and use a dictionary comprehension and do this something like, we can say, we said we get the item of index 0 and the item should we do that, or this one will take more time to do? So can I use a list comprehension? We can stop using this one. We can use a list comprehension and do something like, we want the, we can simply use, let's use a dictionary, but we won't use a dictionary comprehension. We use a set comprehension which returns just a specific item. So we can say item of index. Now we want the item of index 0 for each iteration. Now we can't use a set here because it doesn't accept duplicates. There won't be duplicates. So don't worry. Okay, so we get the item of index 0 for item in my underscore dict dot items if item of index 1 is equals to value of most repeated, and then we can convert this one into a list by passing the list function. So we'll talk about this later, not now, time is gone. And then here, let me call this on my list so that we can first see where we are at, and then let me zoom out a little bit so that you can see. We can return my underscore list. Okay, so what will happen if we try printing this one out? So we got an empty we get an empty list. Okay, so for, let me see what we passed here. So we passed it the string, and then, so let me comment out this one. So let's see what this one gives us. So 7 is the most repeated. Something is wrong here. Let me try my set. So come here and remove this one and see what is returned here. Return my underscore set. So don't worry, this one is now debugging. We are getting nothing. So item of 0 for item in my dict.items. Oh, we didn't give, no, we didn't have to give that. If item of index 1 is equals to, so let's simply use the dictionary comprehension. We have to debug this, but we don't have much time. So return. So we said we get the item of index 0, and then item of index 1 for item in my dict.items. Okay, for my dict in items, if item of 1 is equals to value of most repeated. So let's see what we get here. Okay, there wasn't an error. It did happen that, so let me go back to what we had previously. There was no error, but getting an empty string, I assumed that we got an error, but we didn't get any error. Let me show you what happened. So it happened that the most repeated character is an empty string. So after I got an empty string, thought there was an error. There was no error. So you can still use a dictionary comprehension or use a list comprehension. So what can we do here? So we have another method to join items in a list. So I'll just show you the syntax. So we start with, then you say dot join. So this is the syntax. So what do you want to separate with? You want to separate with a comma and a space. So the first one is a separator. You call the join and what you want to join. So you can do that and see. So this one gave us an empty space, but we can't see an empty space. So let's try adding more character here. Let's add R. So now we expect R to be the most repeated character. We got R. Okay, so how many R's do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. So we have 8 R's. Let's see which one is not the most repeated. S. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We want to see if our code is working correctly. Something is not working. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then how many R's do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9. We can add another S here. We're just testing to see if everything is working. Oops! Our code is working like it has never done. So, guys, to recap, what have I shown you? I know here there is, you might have very many questions. So, feel free to ask any question you want. What is happening? So I'm trying to zoom out and everything is not working like I want. So this one is the whole code. You can see we created an empty dictionary. We went through the dictionary, created a dictionary like this one, okay, with the repeatancy of each. Now here is where everything goes wrong. We have a lot of things going through here. Okay, we can refactor this code, make it more easy to use, and yeah, go through the code. I have explained step by step. Make sure you understand what is happening. Don't worry about the join. It's very simple. Use as you whatever you want to separate with, you add it there, and then whatever you want to join. Okay, so I talked about a list comprehension later in yesterday or some few days ago. You can go and check about what I was talking about on the list comprehensions, because this one is getting too long and I know you guys don't like long sessions. So yeah, that's it guys, and see you next time. Thank you and have a great day. Oh, also, if you really liked what I was teaching you and if you understood something, leave a like below and subscribe to this channel to support it. Thank you.